Yes, the INEC chairman has invited, or INEC we should say, has invited observers to come and see what is going on in the elections. And we see there President or former President Eli Johnson Sirleaf heading the ECOWAS peace delegation to Nigeria. Now, we have with us in the studio this morning to look at a number of other issues, INEC's preparations, what to expect on the day, what could happen in the event, that some court judgments come out or do not come out. You know, what will happen if you do not have PVCs? Are you still going to be going to go and look for your PVCs? We have with us in the studio an INEC resident electoral commissioner, Mr. Mike Igini. He's the resident electoral commissioner for Akwa Ibom State. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's my pleasure to be here, Mark.
Good morning,
Nigerians.
You're welcome to Sunrise.
Thank you.
Now, just wondering, you know, we see already in the country, President or former President Eli Johnson Sirleaf paying a visit to Nigeria, a preliminary visit, you understand. How would you say you're getting ready for the observers? Are you happy about, you know, a number of them are already in Nigeria. We've seen the EU observer mission. We're seeing the ECOWAS observer mission now. How would you say that INEC is getting ready to ensure that whatever the observers see will be towards free and fair and credible elections on election day?
Thank you very much. First, the preparation for the 2019 election actually commenced after the end of the 2015 election, because the end of one electoral cycle commences the beginning of another. So the 2019 election, which are now days away, was actually preparation commenced since 2015. And what you are seeing, and so far, is work in progress. I mean, as at January 2018, we gave out the timetable, issued the timetable and activities for the election. And we're over 14 broad activities. As at today, what is left, we are already done with 11. And so what is left is about 3 or 4, which inclusive of the election day. Now, the international observer that you are seeing, some of whom we have also worked together in other parts of the world, it's a clear demonstration of the fact that the world is a global village, and that democracy and democratic norms, practices have assumed the status of Jewish cushion, you know, a peremptory norm of the international community, that derogation is not really permitted. And so when you see foreign observer, they come around, try to see the processes, what we are doing, where we are heading, you know, it is what has been the norm, because we also be doing that in other countries. So for us, it is work in progress. We have been preparing in terms of ad hoc staff, recruitment, training, and all of that have been going on. The timetable, the register have been published in several states of the country, inclusive of my state, Akwa Ibom State. We have produced the register of voters, the car reader we are going to use, you know, they already, you know, a few enhancements are required to be done. It's already ongoing, you know, almost done with that, you know, and all other kinds of preparation required to have a credible election in this election, you know, are being put into place. So in effect, the commission will be well positioned, you know, for sustained conduct of free, fair, and credible election. Because a credible election is the bedrock for sustainable democracy.
Is INEC concerned about intelligence reports in quote, coming from the federal government, that they receive intelligence that some international bodies are coming here to interfere or could interfere in the process? Are you concerned about that?
Well, I'm just hearing what you are saying, that they received the intelligence report. I'm just hearing that for the first time.
The reason I ask you that,
yes.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen those comments now about from former Governor El Rufai threatening, saying that you know, if any foreigners should come and interfere in our elections, they would go back in body bags. I mean, that comment is eliciting outrage now. But he also defends his statement, saying that this is on the back of statements that they have received, saying that, you know, some bodies are coming here to interfere. And then you also hear from the federal government, you know, they're saying that intelligence reports indicate that some people are trying to turn, you know, the government, or turn the government away from INEC and the police, or turn the government against INEC and the police. Did you get any such reports?
No, I must say, yes, I've just seen the front pages of the newspaper, the statement credited to the sitting governor. And I think that the background statement I've just made is clearly underscored the fact that we are in a world community. Nigeria cannot be in autarky as best democratic practice when it comes to elections. We have been observing other nations' elections. As a matter of fact, when there were serious fears about even Ghana, which is now the leading pride in Africa, you know, we all went then to Ghana. I was one of those who was part of that delegation to meet with the late Kofi Annan, another former president, to say, look, Ghana, you have crossed some critical democratic threshold. You must not go back. And so, really, I am concerned by that, that statement, but we want to assure members of the international community that our election is an election that we want to conduct because election period is a period for citizens to renew both ideas, policies, and persons who have governed for a period of time. And so, of course, as well also as a moment to reaffirm the status of citizens as a free people who should be able to make free choice of who to lead them. So here in Nigeria, you know, we want to say that on the part of the Commission, our commitment to conduct free, fair, and credible election to the satisfaction of the Nigerian people first, and also that will also meet both regional and international standard is one that we are going to demonstrate in this election because we have sufficient tools, preparation to deal with that, to the satisfaction of Nigeria, and of course, for us to also be seen to be a responsible nation in the Committee of Nations.
Let's talk about some of the issues that have been raised in the process and the run-up to the elections. Politicians have raised concerns about the guidelines that INEC has issued. Some people, I mean, voters, eligible voters are raising concerns about the fact that they have not been able to, some of them have not been able to get their PVC. In fact, yesterday, I did get a call from some people who went to pick up their PVC saying that they were told to come after the elections and that their PVCs have not been printed, although they registered since last year, June. Can INEC give any explanation for situations like this?
First, thank you very much. The Commission, for the first time in the history of this country, since on the 27th of April 2017, even before I returned back on the second term following my reappointment, had commenced for the first time the continuous production of these PVCs. And people have also been asked to go to the offices to collect these PVCs. And of course, we have all given opportunity as required by law to do what we call the display for objections and claims. For instance, you should check whether your name is on the register. If there are objections, there are issues raised, we harvested all of that. Regrettably, a number of our citizens, as I've also had interaction with some, you know, didn't even come forward to even check whether their names were there when we brought out what they call the preliminary register to check whether your name is missing from that during this course of CVR registration. Many didn't turn up. A few of those have engaged with us. I said, look, you know what? This exercise now has been suspended for the time being. That can only happen after the general election. There were also categories of individuals who, in fact, as I speak to you, there's a very prominent citizen who agreed that, look, he has not been following up and all that. All right? We have up to Friday.
In other words, you have received those kind of complaints?
Oh, sure.
That they have their TVCs, but they cannot get their PVCs?
Yes, because when, for example, we were doing that display, you know, for the purpose of correction, many people ought to have come up to even show that, look, this is what I have with my TVC. Many of them didn't turn up. They are just coming up now. And unfortunately, the exercise have now been suspended for the time being. And now focusing, because what I think that we should be more worried about is the attitude of the elite as we are going to the election. Because at the moment, we have 84 million, 4,084 registered voters across the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Akwa Ibom, you have 2,119,727. Now, out of this number, in Akwa Ibom, for instance, well over 1.8 million people are now having the permanent voters card. Now, the question is, what should even be more, when I'm talking about days to the election, it is how we are able to create an environment that will enable the people that even have this number of permanent voters cards to be able to vote, even though regrettably, a number of those who also would like to participate in this exercise, will not be able, like this exercise we just mentioned. And also how we have also responded very speedily, for example, in a place they call Okobo, where permanent voters cards were taken away. The police station was touched, burnt down, and they carted away our permanent voters card. We reproduced all of those cards. And in the last 2 days, we have now even moved down to the world level to avail them the same opportunity we're giving to other Nigerians, who had the opportunity of going to the world level, which is closer to the people, to collect those PVC. So as much as we can, within the framework given, we try to respond to some of this matter. But regrettably, not all of these issues will be able to be resolved before that election. But in any case, the huge number of people you have right now, who are holders of this card, is the one that will now say, okay, what are we doing to ensure that we have an ambience where people will be able to come out freely to vote? That is actually the issue I think we should focus in, particularly with respect to the procedures that we have also adopted. With respect to regulations that you talked about, INEC, by virtue of Section 73...
Regulations, is that the same thing as guidelines?
Yeah, the guidelines, guideline and regulations for elections. INEC has the power, it's the only institution, to the exclusion of any other body in Nigeria, that has the power to conduct elections. And also empowered by virtue of Section 73, Section 153 of the Electoral Act, as well as also the third schedule, paragraph 15, to make regulation for the conduct of elections. So when we made those regulations, we also know that the electoral process is a multi-stakeholder responsibility. We recognize the key stakeholders. And so we also invited the stakeholders to come on board to say, these are the regulations that will guide this election. Observations were made and of course, which were taken. And so in the final analysis, all those observations were taken into account, particularly with respect to some of the procedures. And we have to explain, because what we will require in most instances is to explain the regulations.